I travel goes bad.
G'day, Cameron here with some more great nutritional advice and some great recipe ideas as well. Today what we're going to go through is a chicken liver pate. One of my all-time favourite snacks to have on during the week, and it allows me to have a great sort of protein source, good fats, lots of vitamin nutrition in there, and it's easy to take on the run. A lot of my clients sort of struggle in between meals to find something that's a good protein source or something they can have after a workout as well. Rather than a protein shake or something, you can make yourself up some chicken pate, and away you go, you can take it along with you. So just to start with, I want to get a few of those myths out of the way. A lot of people tell me that, don't eat liver because it's quite a toxic organ. So to start with, the liver actually neutralizes toxins, and it gets it through the lymphatic system, and all the toxins actually get stored in your fat or in the nervous system. So the liver doesn't store any toxins at all. The other thing as well is a lot of people, and especially doctors, are saying you shouldn't eat too much liver because it's very, very high in vitamin A, and too much vitamin A can be quite toxic as well. However, they didn't tell you that the Merck, the drug company, had a manual, and when they were doing studies with vitamin A and they showed you how much vitamin A you should have before it starts getting toxic, the vitamin A that they were using was actually a synthetic source. So the vitamin A in this is very bioavailable. It's got all the other nutrients that come along with it to help really digest and assimilate it, so you can use all of it. So what we're going to do quickly is just talk about the primitive people. If you look back, all the primitive people always ate good organ meats. They called them sacred foods, and they always gave the good organ meats, the fatty cuts of meat also, to the pregnant women, the nursing mothers and the children. Lots of cholesterol, lots of saturated fats, and all the vitamins and minerals that come along with that to help build their gut, to help build their immune system, and also for brain development as well. There was another study I was looking at which was done by Ron Koslow, and what he was doing is putting chemical markers on food, and as you ate the food he was just seeing where in your body the nutrition went. So when you ate any fruit, vegetables, even a steak, he could see through photosynthesis that a lot of the nutrition would get digested, assimilated, and then your whole body would the nutrition would just spread through your whole body. However, when he was looking at organ meats, let's say he had somebody ate a liver, a lot of that nutrition will go in and get digested, and a lot of the nutrition will go straight into that liver. Same if you had the heart, they could trace it through, and a lot of the nutrition will go straight and feed the heart as well. So a lot of these primitive people knew that by eating the organs would help sustain and replenish the organs that maybe they were struggling with as well. Nutritionally, liver is probably gram for gram the most nutritional source of food you can get out there, bar none. It's a very high quality source of protein, so which means it's going to be very bioavailable. So when you do eat it, your body's able to use all the building blocks it can to rebuild muscles. I was listening to another article as well, which said that organ meats are, can be classed almost as a natural steroid as well. It's a very concentrated source of vitamin A. It's probably the highest source of vitamin A that you can find in any food. It's got all your B vitamins, especially B12, and nowadays a lot of people are walking around with vitamin B deficiency, which can lead to a whole bunch of mental disorders and depression and stuff as well. There's a lot of trace elements in there, so you've got zinc, you've got chromium and copper, which are all very essential, and it's probably the highest form of bioavailable copper that you can find in the food also. It's also got coenzyme Q10, which is essential for your cardiovascular health. So anyone with heart conditions, or if you're a bit worried about it, because it's probably taking about 40% of lives in America right now. So this is a great way to get that coenzyme Q10 in there, which will really nourish the heart and the cardiovascular system. It's also got nitrogen-containing compounds, and these are the building blocks for your DNA and your RNA. Last thing, it's got very high in your fat-soluble vitamins, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and vitamin K. So watch along and see how we go. I hope you enjoy. Okay, here's all the ingredients for the liver pate. I usually choose some chicken liver. The only reason I usually use chicken liver is because I find when you cook it up and you eat it, it's a little bit more smoother. It hasn't got such a gamey taste. I've tried pork, liver, I've tried beef and lamb, and I just sometimes find they're a little bit gamey and a little bit too strong. So when you go to make a pate and you want to make it nice and smooth and people will be able to enjoy it, you always probably choose to go for chicken or duck. There's lots of other ingredients you can put in there as well. Today I'm just going to use some mushrooms. So probably a nice handful of mushrooms. We're always going to use a bit of onion, some garlic. Here I've just got some mixed herbs. I've got some rosemary, some thyme, and also some bay leaves. So we're just going to put that in the mortar and pestle and just grind those all up. Also, the next most important ingredient is raw butter. It doesn't have to be raw butter because we're going to be cooking it up anyway, but this stuff is amazing. You usually buy this by the kilo, and I'd probably go through that kilo block of butter in about a month, 5 weeks. Also need a blender, also some salt like usual, always a Celtic sea salt or the Himalayan salt, and that's about all your ingredients. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to chop up the liver. So just grab it by the piece. Sometimes there's a little bit of fat and sinew on it, so I'm just going to take that off, put it to the side. And some of these bits are quite thick, so if I'm pan frying them, I want it to cook quite consistently, so I'm just going to sort of butterfly it or just chop it up into little pieces so that it's going to fry nice and easy. Okay, once you've chopped up the liver, we're going to chop up the rest of the vegetables. Just give your chopping board a nice wipe down to get rid of all that blood. You don't want to be mixing that through with the rest of your veggies. So we're going to start with the onion. Just going to top and tail them to start. And it doesn't really matter how well or bad you chop these up, because at the end of all the frying we're just going to puree it all up anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's too fine or too rough. But all I'm going to do, chopped it in half. You can see the circles go this way. I'm just going to chop against the grain so we get nice even lines. Always start your onions on your left, so all the finished product goes to the right. There's the onion done. We're just going to put that on a plate and put it separate. Next we're going to do the mushrooms. So again, maybe starting on the board, so when the finished product ends up on the plate. So just here again, just nice and rough. Small enough though so that they're going to fry it pretty well. And there's our mushrooms. Okay, next one we're going to work with is the garlic. So again, just top and tail them. Remember, just keep all the scraps out of the way so it's not going to be in your final product. As you just give it a squeeze, and it breaks apart, and that way it's easy to just get the skin off. Give it a good squeeze. So with the garlic, again, just chop it up nice and fine. So I had 3 nice cloves, bit of a chop, and again put it separate on the plate, so it's all going to be fried up. So the next thing, I'm just going to get some herbs. It's all up to you what herbs you decide to use. I usually like doing a bit of rosemary, a little bit of thyme. I've got a little bit of mint even, so I'm just going to break up some of these dry herbs that I've left in the fridge. Straight into the mortar and pestle. Always just put a little bit of salt in there, it helps us break it up a little bit as well. And we're just going to work that up into a nice little consistency. So here we have the consistency. It's just looking like sort of roughly sort of chopped up. It doesn't have to be too fine. Again, it's going to go through the blender, so just get that nice and ground up. Okay, here's our food. We've got our mushrooms, the garlic, onions, and our liver, and also our butter. So all we're going to do now is just slowly start frying it up, piece by piece, and just whack it into the blender. So all we're going to do is just add a decent amount of butter. Nice good bit of butter. Frying away, we're just going to chuck in our onions to start with. Might even throw some mushrooms in also. A little bit of garlic. And also a bunch of the herbs. Going to mix that around until it starts to go nice and brown. With the veggies, I'll be pan frying those a fair bit to try and really get some brownness out of them. And cook them up as well with the liver. When we get to the stage of cooking the liver, I'm just going to be cooking the liver maybe medium to... Okay, when that mix is nice and cooked through, it's looking pretty good now. We're going to mix, just add that. Add that all in. And again, we're just going to repeat the same process. So that's all my veg cooked. So the next step is I'm going to get a bunch more butter, some more of the herbs, a little bit of salt, and start pan frying the liver. And like I said, slowly pan fry the liver, and we don't want to cook it all the way through. Like when you're cooking salmon, you want to try and give it that medium rare sort of a texture. Main reason is if I find if you cook the liver too much, it starts tasting a bit sort of metallic. So if you just cook it to about medium rare, you keep a lot of the nutrition in there, and it gives it that nice flavour as well. With a bunch of butter, what we're going to do, get some of the liver, whack that in there. We're just going to move that around. Doesn't have to be too aggressive heat, probably medium-high. We're just going to colour it all, keep moving it until it gets to about that medium rare colour. So once our liver's all cooked up, I'm going to add it into the blender as well. Same sort of steps. Nice bit of butter, add that in. We're just going to add the rest of the liver into that now. Okay, so here's our food. It's got our liver, our garlic, our onions, some seasoning, all the herbs in there, and a heap of butter. That's all been fried up. So we're just going to blend that together now till it's nice and smooth. This is a kilo block of butter. So as you can see, I've probably used maybe 200 grams or 150 grams worth of butter there to fry that all up. There it is, all finished and pureed up. We're just going to have a look and see what that looks like. So that's a really nice smooth consistency. The other thing I forgot to mention at the start was I also put cream in there. So here's a nice cream. It's an organic one. It's a double cream, which means it's nice and thick. This is 300 mils, so I'm going to probably put about half of that in. And that's just going to, again, take some of that strong flavour off the chicken liver and just make it nice and creamy. Okay, great. It's all blended up. The cream's in there. I'm just giving it a taste. This one tastes fine. If you want, this is the point where you can start adding a little bit of salt or some pepper or any other sort of seasoning you want. Blend it up again, and then all we're going to do from here is pour it straight into a glass container. So now, there's our pate, and usually to seal it, I just get a little bit of butter, melt it just at a low heat so it starts to melt, and we're just going to pour the butter over the top of the pate just to seal it and keep all those flavours in. And once that's all melted, slowly pouring it over the top. Just going to move that butter around so it covers most of the pate. And there we go.
If the life I live becomes the life I had, I close my eyes and I dream